What is up, everybody? Welcome to Boogeyman Radio. I'm David.
I'm Charlie. What's up, party people?
We got a pretty in-depth, deep, dark show for you tonight, as per usual.
Yes. Every
Yes,
time. Every time. Yes. Yes.
yes. This is one I think you've been wanting to do for a while, isn't
It
it?
has. Yes. I've been wanting to talk about this one for a while. But you, sir, are going to talk about a subject specifically that I've been wanting to talk about for a long time. And I can't wait to dive into it. Well, I can't wait to have you dive into it. And it'll be very interesting.
Yeah, I'm.
Needless to
I'm kind
say.
of looking forward to putting the information out there. I think it's something that's. I mean, number one, it's important.
Oh, very. It goes on every day and nobody bats an eye.
Exactly. Um, but yeah, I mean, a lot of people have already talked about these subjects in some capacity, but uh, we're just going to dive a little bit deeper, or
That's
as
right.
deep as we can. What's up, Cassie? Um, Before we get into it, I do want to say if you have interest in learning more about tonight's subject and some of the other topics that we'll be discussing in the future, and you can head over to our Patreon page and become a patron member. Join the After Dark, and you'll get more of the show, which we
Hmm.
do at 9:15. After this show, we go over there and we'll discuss the topics in greater depth. So that is going to be at patreon.com/boogeyman radio. And we hope to see you there. If you're not already a member, please jump over there and sign up, become a member.
What's up, Cassie? What's up, Odd? Hi, Josh. Good to see you guys. I guess to start off the night, let's just dive in. How was your week?
Um, it was good. I'm tired.
Yeah,
I had a long night,
I
but
bet you did.
but it was good. It was productive, I guess, and you know, yeah,
Yeah,
kind of looking forward to letting everybody know what it was, what I did, and who I did, where I went.
yeah, absolutely. That's. I can't wait for you to share that nice, neat tidbit of information too.
Yeah, it was fun. Um, the cops enjoyed it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they had a good time with it.
So wait, did you have them there on purpose, or did they show up later?
No, I didn't have them
So
there on
someone
purpose.
called them.
They were there.
Someone called them. Okay.
I'm just saying they were there. That's
Okay.
all I'll say. you'll, yeah,
Dave's causing trouble again, guys.
you'll find out soon enough. Um, so how was your week?
It was good. I mean, busy. We had a huge Chiefs win. I mean, it wasn't too bad. It was the Steelers, so
It was yeah. It
it's
was.
the
I was gonna say
Steelers.
it was the Steelers.
But hey, that's okay. In they did a good job in the first half, I thought, and then we kind of just ran away with it on them. But no, it's been a good week.
Next
Work's
week's when
been
the playoffs
busy.
actually start.
I'm sorry.
I said next week is when the playoffs actually start.
Yes,
This
yes.
coming week, I
We
guess.
play the Buffalo Bills, and that will be very interesting.
Yes.
Hmm.
Mm.
They're a tough team.
Yes.
That quarterback Josh Allen, he's no joke.
Yeah, quarterback Josh Allen.
Yeah, quarterback or man. But other than that, I mean, man, it's crazy. So Omicron's going rampant through Kansas City right now. Like,
Mm.
there's no mandates, there's no restrictions in place. But my work has already been like, hey, let's go ahead and start just putting on our own masks. I'm like, all right, I guess so. It's
Yay.
unavoidable. I mean, everybody's gonna get it. Like,
Yeah.
that's we have like we have some not like I don't want to disclose too much, but yeah, it's just
Just bad.
running rampant. Yeah, but
Running.
it's like it's it's bad, but it's not bad at the same time. Like most of the cases that are in flux right now, so over 40% of the cases um, are people that don't even have symptoms of COVID. They go to the hospital for one thing, they get tested while they're there, and they find out they have COVID. That's over 40% of the cases. And then we find out that over 70% of the people that died with COVID had four or more comorbidities. That means they had four or more things already wrong with them.
As it happens. Happens
Anyways,
when you get old.
but with this whole
Everything's
Omicron
breaking
stuff,
down.
it's giving everybody like cold flu like symptoms.
Yeah.
And so it's just like it's kind of inevitable. Once your body gets over it, your body gets over it and you're immune to it.
Um, I did same here in Eastern Missouri, says Josh.
Josh, yeah.
Um, so I did get something really cool though, that we can use for the show. Because we do some games every now and then, like the Mandela Effect. I thought this might come in handy at some point.
I'm excited to see like
It's a trivia
go
game.
through this one. Yeah.
Maybe we'll do a little bit on the After Dark. So if you guys want to play a little bit, jump over to the After Dark, sign up. By the way, if you do sign up for our Boogeyman Radio Patreon, that helps us bring you more content. So maybe we'll play a little bit of this, try a couple of the cards out, see what's on it.
Maybe a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this, and a little bit of that.
Also, speaking of new content, guys, guess what?
True odd.
We're working on some new content for you.
We're working on some not so live stuff.
Yep. So we've already got one video ready. And we're probably going to release them maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks or something like that. But what we're working on, I didn't even upload. I was going to upload the thing here for you.
Gosh darn it, Dave.
Let me do this before I really get into it.
I will say check your messages too.
Did you send me that photo?
I sent you a link that has like it's a link to Daily Mail and they talk about it. They have the symbols on the website and everything. But you can just all you got to go to is go to I went to DuckDuckGo and I just typed in certain words. But you know, if you do it on Google, it may get you on a register. Just saying. Just saying.
Damn it. Okay, I don't have the photo ready. Anyway, so I was doing this with Paranormal Frequencies, but we only did one video or two videos maybe. But that was a couple years ago that we did it. But we are going to be releasing our list of 10 haunted places per state.
Yeah.
And you might see me covering a video. You might see Charles covering a video or a state. And these are not necessarily like a top 10 kind of thing. These are just a list of 10 interestingly haunted places or reputed haunted places.
Yes.
5 of them being like honorable mentions, and then the other 5 being like the 5 most haunted, I guess.
That will actually go into detail and talk about.
Yeah. So we actually have one of the videos releasing this Friday. First state that we're going to be doing is Kansas, which I do have experience at a few of the places in Kansas, so I did include those places in my 5. I'll just say that for those of you that don't know.
I mean, it makes sense. Like if I do Iowa, of course I'm going to include Malvern. Like I don't know anywhere about Iowa except Malvern. But you know, I'm not going to be like, oh, it's not one of my favorite places. Like, of course it's one of my favorite places.
There is a surprise with my Kansas one, though. I think people are going to be like, why is this just an honorable mention?
Oh yeah. I think I have a feeling of which one it is.
I think you do. I think you know.
Starts with an S.
Yeah, and Denise knows all about it.
Oh, 100%. Foremost expert on that place.
Yeah, and that's the reason why. And personal experience, basically.
Yes. I mean, it's my time that I'd spent there was pretty awesome, but
I've been there twice.
It happened to me.
I had a good night, and then I had a bad night. So
nice.
Yeah,
but I've never investigated in the nighttime though. It's only been just helping with tours. Yeah, I've never had the chance to actually investigate it.
I would say go there again, but like
It's not worth it now.
Yeah, it's not even haunted,
Yeah.
from what I've been told.
Yep.
So, but it was.
It was at
So that
one
counts for
point.
something, right?
Yep. Just go to the McIntyre Villa. It's fine.
Yeah. So let's just jump into tonight's topic.
Let's get it.
Uh, Tonight we are talking mysterious deaths, and when we say mysterious deaths, we don't mean like this lady passed away, but nobody knows why. We're talking about there might be reasons why that cause concern.
Yeah. Like that's like of course, there's the three I'm gonna be talking about, well, two I'm gonna be talking about are pretty well known if you like,
Hmm.
but I still want to talk about them because I haven't been able to talk about them ever. So
Yeah,
I'm gonna talk about them.
we have a platform now. Damn it!
Exactly.
If you
Exactly.
didn't, that was me hitting the table.
I thought it was you hitting something else, but never mind.
No, I got that tucked in.
Ah,
Um, but the ones that we're talking about tonight, some of them are really well known. Some of them aren't
yes.
so much, but they all seem to have like a common thread when it comes to conspiracy.
Yes.
And I think for some of these mysterious deaths, or for the most part, like anytime somebody dies and you know, anytime somebody dies and then people start digging into it, it always comes back to one thing,
It
and that's
does.
government.
Yep. How
So,
much is the government involved? Hmm.
and why is the government involved?
The government's
That
been involved in a lot of shady things, or a lot of things that usually end up being shady, and it's just like there's some questions here.
So let me kick this off with my first one here.
Okay.
Let me open this up. A lot of you may not have heard of Danny Casolaro. His murder happened in 1991 in West Virginia. In fact, he was killed the day before my birthday.
Oof.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna
Um,
say something morbid, like he was killed on my birthday, so I've been reincarnated or something. Uh,
that wouldn't have made sense.
hey, I don't know, man. I
I
don't
got
know
possessed by Danny.
exactly.
Tell me, Danny, what happened? Um, you're gonna find some really odd things about this.
Okay.
So the details on the case are this. This happened in Martinsburg, West Virginia. At 12:30 p.m. on August 10th, 1991, 44-year-old investigative reporter Danny Casolaro was found dead in his hotel room near Martinsburg, West Virginia. A maid had found him in his bathtub. Both of his wrists had been slashed several times. Police were called to investigate. They soon found an apparent suicide note that read, "To my loved ones, please forgive me, most especially my son, and be understanding. God will let me in."
Hmm.
In the bathtub, they found a razor blade. It was determined that Danny's wrists had been slashed a total of 12 times. That's pretty crazy for somebody that's trying to commit suicide, right? You're not going to
Right.
go. There were 8 cuts on his left and 4 cuts on his right. One cut was deep enough to sever a tendon. Investigators found his wallet with credit cards and money still in his room.
Hmm.
There appeared to be no signs of forced entry or a struggle. As a result, they ruled his death a suicide. For unknown reasons, his family was not notified of his death for 2 days. They're convinced that he was murdered. So, pausing right there, the whole fact that the family was not notified for 2 days
Red flag.
throws up a red flag for me. You would they have his ID
Yeah.
and all that stuff. How they couldn't find the family or why they wouldn't notify the family for that long, like you said, it's a red flag. Like, could they be just covering something up, or could they just be, doing it to make sure everything's cleaned up before they put it out there that he's dead?
Sounds like
Um,
a cover up. Anyways.
when Danny's brother Tony contacted the police, he was stunned to learn that about the day. I'm sorry. Let me start that over. When Danny's brother Tony contacted the police, he was stunned to learn about the day in notification. He asked about Danny's papers, his investigation, and his overall life. The officer did not know about any of it. The papers that he had with him included hundreds of notes and documents from his year long investigation, and those papers have never been found.
Hmm.
Danny's family also noted that he was afraid of blood tests and needles, so they felt that it would be unlikely that he would commit suicide by slashing his wrists.
Right.
Just days before his death, he told several friends that he was close to breaking the story that he had been investigating. It started as an inquiry into a computer software theft. However, it soon turned into an investigation of government corruption that allegedly implicated the U.S. Justice Department officials. Some believe that he was killed because he knew too much. His investigation began in August of 1990 when he interviewed Bill and Nancy Hamilton, the owners of a computer software company called Inslaw. They had developed a powerful program called Promise that allegedly revolutionized information management for law enforcement agencies. In 1980, the U.S. Justice Department purchased Promise to handle their millions of case files. Initially, it worked well with the department. However, during the second year of their 3-year contract, the Justice Department began to withhold payments from Inslaw. This eventually led to Inslaw filing for bankruptcy. Bill and Nancy discovered that the Canadian government had acquired Promise, despite the fact that they did not sell it to Canada.
Hmm.
Bill and Nancy spoke to Michael Riconoscudo. That's a long, weird name. Who claimed to have worked with the CIA on numerous top secret projects. He claimed that people involved in covert operations in South America and the Middle East had distributed Promise. So basically, he's claiming that all this program that is being used to keep everybody's information, their police records, and everything like that, it's basically been distributed.
Hmm.
He also claimed that the money received from selling it was used for other covert operations. In August of 1989, the Inslaw scandal became known to Congress, and the House Judiciary Committee opened a formal inquest. I'm just going to call him Michael because I don't want to pronounce his last name again. So, Michael, the guy who worked with the CIA,
Yeah.
testified about his knowledge regarding the case. Within a week of submitting his sworn affidavit to the committee, he was arrested on drug charges by agents of the Justice Department. That's not fishy at all.
No.
And if he worked with the CIA, I'm pretty sure they would be drug testing.
Oh, absolutely.
So if they're drug testing, chances are he's not a drug user.
Right.
So for them
He's
to
a
bust
drug
him on
seller.
drugs, probably, if that, I mean,
I mean, he's got the perfect way in. It's the what CIA you said. So
mhm.
I'm sure they find drugs all the time. So it's perfect way to sell it back out.
And he could have been working on a sting, but then turned out that he was the sting. It was a setup. We're gonna give you this coke. You got to sell it to this guy, and then he
Yeah.
takes this coke and he goes to sell it, and you know
Yeah,
what?
because you're screwed because you're basically not on file. Anybody could take you off file at any moment
Yeah.
notice and
And
just be
now
like,
we
"Oh,
have
he's a druggie. He's a drug lord or whatever."
you with all this cocaine.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, he testified about his knowledge regarding the case, and then was arrested the day after submitting his own, or within a week of submitting his own affidavit. Former Attorney General Elliot Richardson also testified before the committee.
Hmm.
After months of investigation, Danny believed that he had uncovered a savory network of U.S. officials. Go figure.
Oh wow.
Who were organized crime members and intelligence agents. He also called the network the Octopus. Does that sound
Huh.
familiar?
Yeah.
Okay. He claimed that it was behind several scandals of the 1980s, including the Iran Contra scandal,
Interesting.
the BCCI scandal, the BNL affair, and the now discredited October surprise. He was apparently in contact with several shadowy figures.
I'm
It's
not
like some X
surprised.
Files shit.
Deep state.
Yeah.
Deep state.
Cocaine. Cocaine.
Cocaine.
Cocaine.
Exactly. That's wild. Is there more to the case?
There is.
Yeah.
I was just catching up on some comments real quick.
Fair enough.
Yeah. All right. So, uh, a week before Danny's death, he
Yeah.
told Tony, his brother, that he had been receiving frequent death threats. He also said that if he did die, that Tony should not believe that it was an accident. So apparently the death threats were like, you're going to be in an accident if you're not careful,
Mm.
kind of thing. On August 8th of 1991, he arrived in Martinsburg with several briefcases, planning to meet with informants and conclude his investigation. So he was about to wrap this up. He claimed to have been tracking the finances of the octopus and believed that one of his new contacts would deliver new evidence. Some of it would include IRS printouts of certain individuals. The day before his death, Danny met with another source, William Turner, not the pirate from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Bill Turner.
So William Turner was a former employee of a major defense contractor. According to him, he handed over paperwork describing corruption that Danny believed was tied to the octopus. The next day, Danny was dead, and William's documents were missing, along with the rest of Danny's papers.
Poof.
Due to the controversy surrounding Danny's death, the West Virginia authorities convened a formal inquest, which included a complete autopsy. Tony claimed that Danny had been embalmed without the family's permission. The autopsy confirmed that bleeding from the wrist cuts were the cause of his death. It also suggested that he was not alone at the time. Specifically, there was a bruise on his arm and head. Also, the tips of 3 of his fingernails were missing. Danny's family learned that his hotel room was cleaned by a professional cleaning crew the day after his death. So, crime scene investigation wrapped up in less than 24 hours.
Just bing, bang, boom, done.
Yeah. They inadvertently discarded important evidence. Interestingly, one of them remembered seeing 2 bloody towels in the bathroom. It appeared that someone had tried to clean off blood from the floor prior to when the professional crew arrived.
Interesting.
One strange footnote to this case occurred at Danny's funeral. During the burial, a highly decorated military official appeared and placed a medal on his casket. Nobody knows who he was or what connection he may have to this case. Danny's family and many others are convinced that his investigation into Inslaw and the Justice Department led to his death. So several people believe Danny was murdered by a secret clandestine government agency dubbed the Octopus, but such a presence is unconfirmed at best. His family believes that they killed him because he learned too much about the investigation. So
follow the money there, Odd. Follow the money. Yeah.
So the bruising. I mean, a bruise on the head. I mean,
whack.
Did he get punched? You know,
maybe.
I mean, that would have been a threat. If they did the autopsy, so like if they did the embalming, but without the family knowing, I wonder if embalming somebody would like discard any like toxins that were in their body.
It should, because that's cleaning them out. That's like they have to clean them out. Like, what is it called? Basically, they're getting the body prepped for the funeral. So
yeah,
they're cleaning it up. They're doing all sorts of stuff.
Yep. And who paid? This is a good point. Who paid for the cleanup? Follow that and see who picked up that bill, because police aren't going to pay for it.
Nope.
No, they're not. And the hotel didn't pay for it, I don't believe.
No, I don't think they did either.
Because they have their own maids and shit.
Yeah.
And the maid's the one that said that she actually seen the bloody towels when the cleanup crew was there.
She didn't get whacked.
No shit. So the bruises indicate maybe some kind of threat that happened, or maybe they did drug him and that was from moving the body, trying to get him into the door. They probably hit his head on the door frame, or when they put him in the tub, maybe. Um, the fingernails being clipped.
That sounds like a struggle.
Yeah,
Like
it
when you
sounds like
say
he got the
clipped, like
DNA.
it was actually like clip, like fingernails, or like they were gone.
Yeah, they were either cut or they were gone.
Mm,
But that just tells me, like, when a woman's being attacked or raped, they tell her to scratch the face or scratch the skin so they get DNA under the fingernails.
yeah.
That could be like a part of the cleanup where they just clip the fingernails so no DNA. You
So he
know,
could have put up a struggle.
could have, and that would have been probably from the drugging. I would assume
Yeah.
had they drugged him, because that's how I see this whole thing playing out. Is somebody came to his hotel room, and it was probably the guy that was supposed to meet him, um, or it could have been somebody that knew about the meeting. Like the
Yeah.
whole plan to meet up with somebody was a setup. They showed up. They drugged him. He tried to fight the drugging. They moved him into the bathroom. They cut his wrist. Some of the blood squirted. Maybe
Yeah.
um, got on somebody. Maybe
That's
stepped in
crazy.
on the floor. That's why they cleaned up off the floor with the towels, so there wouldn't be any footprints.
Do you even have a picture of this guy at all?
I can find one.
I'm curious what he looks like.
Yeah, I can find one real quick.
Well, you did you so speaking of mysterious things, there was actually a plot to kill Julian Assange. Do you know who that is?
Yes.
The CIA had a plot to kill Julian Assange, and it still could happen because he's supposed to be extradited to the or whatever it's called to the United States.
Hmm. I would
Yep.
not. I would not be surprised if that happens anytime soon.
Oh right, I agree.
Within the next 6 months.
Let's also talk about a mysterious death that nobody thinks was suicide. Epstein didn't kill himself,
It's facts.
and
Where did I just save this? Oh wait,
like if you actually take a look at the
here's a,
photo evidence, there's a weird echo coming from your end, bud.
from my end.
Yeah, like I can hear myself like vibrate sound coming back.
That's weird. Let me do this then. Give me a minute. Give me a moment. Get my headphones out here. That's weird because it never happens.
I know, that's why I'm like, what the heck? I sound like a robot.
Maybe we're being listened to.
Maybe.
Because
Told you we're on a list.
yeah, like I said, this never happens. Somebody else is in here. We'll do this.
Say what's up in the chat, CIA operative.
Oop, wrong button.
No echo on the feed. Okay, maybe it's just me, but I could have sworn it wouldn't.
Let me.
I can hear me through my headphones.
Oh, it's probably because of the speakers. Let me do this. That's probably better.
Hello.
Hello.
Nope.
You still
Nope.
hear yourself?
Yep, I still hear a weird buzzing noise of me.
That's not going to come from me then.
Hold on. Hello. Whatever. If they can't hear it, whatever. We'll just go
Yeah.
with it. It's
All
just CIA listening to us.
That could be.
So speaking
Um,
of or go ahead. Okay, that's what he looks like.
This is what the guy looks like. This is Danny
Okay.
Castellaro.
Okay. Looks like he should be on Miami Vice.
What are you saying? You find him handsome?
I'm just saying, he's a good-looking dude.
Yep. Got those squinty, beady eyes.
And that butt chin,
He's like, "Can I trust you?
right?
I can't trust you."
There's a lot of people that go up missing and dead and stuff. What is his name? Oh gosh, he. It's some sort of security for computers. I can't think of what it's called, but he recently passed away, and some think that he was killed.
Hmm.
McAllister Computers or Alistair. I can't remember what that it's called, but that'll be a topic for another time. So real quick though, if you go back and look at the pictures of like Epstein's neck and his jail cell, first off, his neck looks like it was wire. It looks like it was done by wire. There's no like they say it was clothing is what did it, clothing doesn't make a sharp, not a sharp, but it doesn't make a definite line across your neck.
I don't know how it looks after you hang yourself with clothing, but I have seen a friend of mine from high school hung himself years ago, and I went to his funeral. And they had an open casket funeral, but his neck looked kind of flattened, almost like it was
Yeah.
fucking weird. Um, but I mean, if you're doing it with clothing, have you ever like sat on clothing when it was wrinkled and like you looked at your leg or your arm or whatever, and you
Yeah,
see the line? But
that's a little different though.
I know eventually it goes away with blood flow. But I'm
Well,
just saying, like,
when he's dead, there's no blood flow.
exactly, so it would stay.
Run over and handle it. That's if he's even dead. The body they rolled out could have been a double too.
Just like H.H. Holmes. Did
What?
you see that?
That's
I didn't see that.
fly or something or
Yeah.
yeah. All right. So that was a good one.
Yeah.
Man, of course. Now,
I will say that if you look more into Danny Casolaro, I mean, there's a lot more to his story that it's pretty fascinating.
so what was he like? Um, did you say if he was a part of the government too, or if
He
like
wasn't. He was just an investigative journalist.
just investigative journal? Okay. So that's very interesting. I
It's
mean,
what happens when you go chasing down the government.
when you actually become a journalist and you report on the truth and not do
Yeah.
what the freaking media tells you, or sorry, the bigwigs tell you to do.
Hmm.
Hey, if you don't want to die, you'll report on this. Well, I don't know if you heard about or if you've ever seen this, but apparently there was um, Martin Luther King received death threats like all the time.
Yeah.
There was a letter that was sent to him that if he didn't kill himself, uh, like within so many days, they were going to kill him.
Hmm.
I saw it. I can't remember where I saw it, but anyways, it was weird. Never saw that before. But oh gosh. Okay, so with that, I kind of want to go in the controversy of Marilyn Monroe. We're gonna
Let's do it.
go with that one.
Let's do
So,
it.
as everybody
All right.
knows,
Oh wait. I thought you were gonna go with the other one that I
eh,
got pictures for.
okay, that's fair.
All right.
That
Let's.
one's lengthy. I'm just saying. Okay, all right. So
We have a half hour.
we're good. So everybody knows Princess Diana. Like Odd even said Princess Tupac earlier. So plus it was in the picture of the thumbnail. So anyways, this one I've actually always wanted to talk about. I've never been able to talk about. Well, I've talked about it, but not like this. What?
I don't. I don't know if I remember seeing the news reporter do that. I remember seeing a politician blow his brains out at a press conference.
I do remember that one.
I've seen that.
Yeah, I do remember that one. He had it like, oh gosh, that was wild. Okay, so in the early hours of Sunday, the 31st of August, 1997, news of the death of Diana, Princess of Wales, shocked the world. She and her lover, Dodi Al Fayed, had been killed in a car crash. They sped through Paris tunnels during the night. The driver of the car, Henry Paul, was also killed, and Diana's bodyguard, Trevor Reese Jones, was seriously injured. At first, the cause of the accident seemed straightforward enough in an attempt to shake off the paparazzi who were pursuing the couple on motorcycles. The driver had taken the car down into the tunnel, uh, geez, just a little too fast, and had ended up smacking into one of the pillars inside it. But then questions began to ask. Why was the car traveling so fast? Had Henry Paul been drinking? If so, why had he been allowed to drive the car of Britain's number one celebrity, Diana, whose doomed marriage to their heir to the throne, Prince Charles, had generated pages of speculation and scandal in the worldwide press for over a decade? Why had the lights in the tunnel and the security cameras apparently failed just before the crash? Why had it taken so long for Diana, who was still alive after the crash, to be taken to the hospital by ambulance? And after her death from cardiac arrest in the hospital, why was her body immediately embalmed before a post mortem could be undertaken? There it goes again with this
The
stinking.
embalming.
Yeah,
Maybe I was right about that. Maybe it does flush away toxins and like there to where like if somebody was drugged, all the drugs and stuff gets flushed out with the
yeah.
blood and
Like, how do we know there wasn't a struggle inside the car?
yeah.
Like, we don't know. So craziness. All right. So, and after her death, she was involved for the postmortem. Had she been pregnant? Was it possible that MI6 and the British royal family wanted her and her lover, son of one of the British richest businessmen, Mohammed Al Fayed, out of the way? Which I had no idea about that, by the way.
Hmm.
See, I don't know like a lot about the case, but I've always wanted to talk about it, so it's kind of
Yeah.
nice. Had the princess's indiscretions, her affairs, her criticism of the royal family, her increasingly eccentric behavior earned her enemies in high places. Al Fayed Sr. claimed that the couple had been murdered, that they had been planning to marry, and that the British establishment had
Wow.
decided that it was time to get them out of the way. At
Well,
first, oh, go ahead.
let me just say, like, with him wanting to, like, he wasn't British. I don't believe.
I don't think so
Right.
either.
I mean, with that name, I think he was Middle Eastern, right?
I mean, he was like his dad was one of British's like or Britain's like richest like guys, I guess.
Well,
Yeah,
maybe they came from the Middle East and they just settled in Britain. But
maybe.
I know Princess Diana made a bunch of trips to like Middle East and
Yeah,
Africa and stuff. Um, but
Britain's richest businessman, Mohammed Al. Yeah, okay,
you would think that the royal family would probably want to keep the bloodline
pure.
pure.
Yeah,
Um,
some Nazi crap.
yeah, basically. And if she had a baby by this guy who was not white, Caucasian, um, then that would definitely disrupt the whole bloodline.
Yeah,
So having the baby taken out during the autopsy and stuff like
everything.
that, like you would, yeah, there would be no baby, there would be no marriage, no,
So that would mean the only two heirs would be Harry and the other one. Can't think of his
yeah.
name. Don't
Char-
care.
is it Charles or no? Fuck, I don't remember either. I don't keep up with the royals.
I couldn't tell you. That should be a TV show, or it should have been a TV show. Anyways,
Was a
at,
mess.
right. At first, Al-Fayed claim was seen as paranoid, but as time went on and more anomalies in the case surfaced, the theories began to seem less outlandish. Soon, others began to be convinced that this was no ordinary accident, but a case of foul play. And specifically, real quick before I move on, too, did you hear that the Queen has now stripped Prince Andrew of all his formalities
All right, then that's weird.
because he is tied to the Maxwell case
Ooh,
and he is now in a civil lawsuit and he has to face the lawsuit as a civilian, not royal family. She has stripped him completely of his royalties.
she's probably pissed. I mean,
Oh yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
would be too.
Oh yeah, it's a thing. It's really happening. They're going
Would
after
do
him. Also, side note too, along with that, apparently, Ghislaine Maxwell is not going to be silent. She's going to give like 8
eight
names.
of them up. Yeah.
I'm excited to hear who they're going to be and whether
Well,
they pay her to like say certain names. You know what I'm saying?
that file that I sent you weeks ago
Yeah.
that had the information about who was in the lawsuit and the people that were listed as like what John Doe's or whatever.
Yep.
Those are supposedly some of the people that are getting
Yeah.
named.
I posted that on Facebook and someone was like, "Well, did you hear their or did you why don't you post their statements?" I'm like, "I'm not posting their statements. I'm posting this specific article." What like
Yeah.
anyways, people are stupid. All right, so did MI6 kill Diana?
Bum bum
Right.
bum.
Initially, the press reported that the tragic event as a car accident caused by the fact that Henry Paul, the driver, had simply made a mistake. But it began to emerge that Paul, a security officer at Ritz Hotel, was an experienced and careful driver who had taken driving courses in the past. Not only this, but the car was only traveling at about 60 or 70 miles an hour, not 100 or 20 like the what was first reported back in the day.
Yeah.
Next, there were allegations that Paul had been drunk at the wheel, but security cameras at the hotel showed that he was acting in a perfectly normal way minutes before taking the wheel. Moreover, he was unlikely to have been drinking when on call to such important hotel guests as Diana and Dottie.
Yeah.
Right. Later, it was found out that even before they took samples of his blood, the police had in fact announced that Paul was drunk. Interesting.
Hmm. I mean, just based off of personal experience, like it's not uncommon for police to just
Say
put
it.
out information before the investigation. I mean,
Isn't that weird?
that documentary I'm working on there, that was an instance of that.
There's we've seen some stuff like that all over the place, and it's just funny how things change. Anyway, so
Yep.
so if the car was not going too fast and Paul was not drunk, why had the accident happened? Conflicting reports by some witnesses told of a car blocking the way so that Paul had to turn off his normal route into the tunnel and of cycles ramming the car as it traveled along, causing it to swerve. Some suggest that Paul had been in the pay of MI6, that he had been hired to kill Diana and Dottie, and that something had gone wrong at the last minute so that he ended up killing himself as well. What was odd is still unexplained is why Dottie asked Paul to drive the couple home instead of using his usual driver, Philip Junot. I don't know. That's yeah. So Dottie requested for a different driver. Interesting. The guy clearly wasn't drinking. They know he wasn't drinking. The speed was 60 to 70 miles an hour, which, mind you, people can still die going 60 to 70 miles an hour.
Yeah.
But
I I don't see an instance where somebody would purposely drive into,
right,
you know, the thing. Like there's
like
no.
I was saying, well, what I'm saying is, what if he was going at an irate speed and it was coming up fast, and there was a little bit of a struggle in the car, but in that little small amount of time in that struggle, he killed him, or he accidentally killed himself. Like
or
somebody
maybe
tried to stop him, or
or maybe there was a struggle and they bumped him and he.
boom, swerved and boom, car
Yeah.
crash. So
But why
yeah,
would there be a struggle in the first place though? A physical struggle.
I don't know. You'd have to look at the people that were in the car. So you had Princess Diana, the security guard, um, her fiance, and the driver. Right, just four people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who would be more likely?
I mean, only struggle I could see would be like if the fiance was gonna beat the shit out of his wife or his, princess
What
died
if what
and
if
she found
Diana
out.
was like stressed and she tried to tell him to slow down, but he wouldn't listen. So she like hit him with a bag or something, and whoop,
But
could have
they were
killed
only.
themselves.
But you know, if she's in the back seat, I don't think that's enough to cause
No, I agree.
the swerve or nothing.
Well, if
So
she gets up out of her seat and hits him,
I still don't see it.
I don't think she would do that either. I'm not. This is just it was just speaking BS or what
Yeah,
have
yeah,
you.
yeah. But
Yeah,
I don't know.
no. I just there could have been a struggle. You never know. So, according to some reports, all the lights in the tunnel went out shortly before the car approached. The security camera in the tunnel also failed. On this evidence, a theory had been constructed that Paul was used as a dupe and that the French authorities deliberately arranged for the car to crash, thus killing the inmates. It
I
was
don't know why they call them inmates.
I don't know why either. Yeah.
But this sounds set up. I mean, they had
It
a car
does.
blocking their normal
They
route.
had a car blocking their normal route. They
Yeah,
had the lights turned off. The security cameras didn't work.
they had to force them into a controllable environment,
Yes.
which is a
Which
tunnel.
I would say a car tunnel is perfect.
Take out the lights and cameras.
Yep. So, it had been suggested that Reese Jones was somehow in on the plot because he survived, protected by his safety belt when Diana and Dottie were not wearing theirs. However, this involvement is somewhat implausible. Deliberately traveling in a car that is designed to have a fatal accident seems a little too risky a strategy, even for a man trained by the Parachute Regiment, one of the toughest regiments in the British Army. Okay, so that puts a little bit more light. She and her fiance were not strapped in at all.
Right.
That's your first mistake.
That was on them.
That was on them. That's, yeah. So, what does emerge as odd, however, is how the French authorities responded at the scene of the accident. In the immediate minutes, flip the page here.
They were smoking cigarettes and going,
I
wee, wee, wee,
thought I
wee.
was going to say maybe. After the crash, Diana appeared not to be seriously harmed. It later emerged that she was suffering from internal bleeding, but the off-duty doctor who arrived first on the scene, Frederick Méliès, yep, she did not appear to be in fatal condition, as she clearly needed medical attention. An ambulance was called, but strangely, it took over an hour to get to the hospital. It even stopped on the way for 10 minutes. It stopped on the way to the hospital for 10. What?
When the princess wants McDonald's, you stop for McDonald's.
Apparently. Um, so afterwards, it was explained that the ambulance had stopped in order to administer a shot of adrenaline to the princess that had traveled slowly to avoid her jolting. I'm
So
sorry. I'm
there's,
sorry.
there's a little
Don't
bit of
they?
misinformation, like, or not misinformation, but like there's a little bit of conflicting information.
Yeah, because
If she doesn't look like she's needing medical attention, yeah, you
no,
take her in an ambulance.
it was clear that she did need medical attention, but they wanted to take her to the ambulance like ahead. Like they said that she didn't look like there was nothing like you. If you looked at her,
Physically
she
looking
looked
wrong.
like she was okay.
Okay.
But they went ahead and took. But just like every accident, you have to. So
Yeah, you have to
you
get
have
that
to
help.
have an ambulance. If you're in an accident, you have to have an like ambulance support. Like that's just. But I don't know how it is over in France. That's a little different story.
Right.
But I'm just saying, people administer shots all the time in rushing ambulances. There's no need to stop for 10 minutes. For
Yeah,
10 minutes to
that's a long
administer a
time.
shot. That like
Should have had the shot driving.
okay, good. Okay, we're good. And then just go. Like,
And if she had an IV or anything, they could have just put it in the IV.
yeah, there you go. Perfect. So, afterwards, explain it. Yep, okay. However, many remain unconvinced by this, and they still cannot understand why Diana was taken to the hospital some distance away when there was several nearby that could have attended her. After all, this was no ordinary car crash victim. This was Diana, the Princess of Wales, one of the most famous and recognizable women on the planet. It's just ridiculous. I don't.
Yeah.
Not only that, but important evidence was also cleared away from the scene of the accident immediately after the victims had been taken to the hospital. Within just a few hours, the tunnel had been cleaned, disinfected, and it was soon opened up to traffic once again. I think it was planned by the government.
Well, the
I really,
cleanup of an accident, it actually goes pretty quick anyway.
I'm,
So
I'm
that
just
I
saying,
yeah. So that
pretty convenient.
I kind of brushed that off to the side, like
Yeah,
quick to clean up. Took a couple
yeah,
hours. That sounds about right.
yeah.
Um, but
And
like I've seen accidents that were worse than that were a couple
but
cars.
they're saying that the tunnel wasn't even like cleared off or anything. Like it wasn't shut down, nothing. They just got them out, cleared out the vehicles, boom, they're done. Usually with accidents, if it's a big like cause like death accident, there's an investigation that happens.
Yeah, but they can shut down one lane.
They didn't. They cleared it all off. They cleared everything.
I'm talking about they shut down all the lanes.
No, they cleared everything to not shut down anything. They just took the crime scene away, or they took the scene away.
But that still took them a couple hours. They probably could have been investigating during that couple hours.
While that's true, that's true. That's a very good point. All right, so in normal circumstances, one would have expected the authorities to have sealed off the tunnel and have sifted through the evidence in order to find out exactly what happened. But in this case, they did not, which was curious.
Well, here's the other thing too. Like with car accidents, what they'll do, like they'll take the statements and everything right there at the scene. They'll also take statements later, depending if it's a fatal accident,
Yeah,
um, and then they will haul off the car to get investigated at another location.
yeah, that's
Because I
fair.
mean, if there's something mechanically wrong with the car that failed, you can still find that somewhere else instead of holding up traffic and blocking everything.
It's just wild, absolutely wild.
But
All right, so
go ahead.
the aftermath. Once Diana had died in the hospital, the British family reacted oddly to the news. They reportedly sent an emissary to the hospital to retrieve any valuable family jewelry on the body. They then ordered the hospital to embalm the body right away, thus making it impossible for post mortem to be carried out. In particular, it was not possible to ascertain whether the princess had been pregnant or not. She had, she had apparently confided to the Dr. Melez that she was. When the press learned of the tragedy, the royal family were roundly condemned for not issuing an official statement and for failing to fly the palace flags at half mast. There's more. There's two more paragraphs, but I want
Go
to
ahead,
talk about that real quick. So interesting how I think it's Harry and the
Andrew.
Andrew. Thank you. It's and yes. So the one that came over here to America with his lady, have they had their kid yet?
Yeah,
I think they have. Yeah,
there's. I thought they were had like two, or they're expecting another one.
maybe. I don't know. I don't know if they're considered royalty anymore. I don't know
Probably not at this point.
if they excommunicated themselves basically from the family because it's not pure
Mhm.
anymore. They probably didn't want to happen what happened to their mom, and so they had to get away.
Probably. They're probably
Where
back.
else to come from? I mean, think about it. They had to be in the public spotlight, which right after it happened, that's all it was. That's all you heard about. Like they were on Oprah, they were on different talk shows. Like they were just in the public spotlight 100%. So the royal family almost couldn't touch them because it would look too soon.
Yeah,
But anyways,
and as
that
you get older, I mean, you just kind of
yeah.
let's
But I
just
mean,
get
it
let's just
makes sense that the whole purity thing is a thing in that family.
could be could be that's a big European thing. Um,
You know,
it's a
maybe
big
it's not the family so much, but it's maybe the rulers that reside over the family. Does that make sense?
yeah.
Because you know, there's no way in heck that family makes their own decisions for the country.
No, they don't. There, it's just all posterior.
It is. It's like our president today. I mean, what?
Who said that?
I don't. The president doesn't make any of his own decisions. He's a freaking puppet. So, to this day, new theories are still pointing out to the possibility that top ranks of the British establishment joined in a conspiracy to kill Diana, Princess of Wales, because she had not only become an embarrassment to the royal family, but also to the state in general. Other theories have also emerged, was one of which that she faked her own death so that she could disappear. Now that's an interesting thought.
It'd be really hard to do that way.
I mean,
She would have
cameras and lights all turned off.
she would have to have the cooperation of a lot of agencies to pull
Ambulance stopped
that
for
off.
10 minutes on the way to the hospital.
And what dumped off a different body, like switched
Possible.
body,
Possible.
like Michael Jackson.
I'm just saying it's possible. Or like, Elvis.
Yeah,
So if she faked her own death, be thus avoiding the media circus that followed her everywhere she went. Perhaps we will know the full truth. What is clear, though, is that the circumstances of her death were not as straightforward as they first appeared. Also, many of those who dealt with the accident, whether in Britain or in France, were guilty of incompetence, if not murder. In 2005, the official inequity of Diana's death was reopened in France. Wow, I didn't know that was a thing. But it's funny. You don't hear people talk about like brake issues in
right.
here. That's the number one thing that I hear from normal people is, oh, it was brakes failed, brakes failed, brakes failed. Sounds like that was the general go-to message that they
Yeah.
used.
Well, I mean, there used to be like in movies, if you wanted to kill somebody, cut their
Cut the
brake on.
brakes.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she got Clintoned, but not by Clintons.
Or did she?
Dun dun dun.
Guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. We are going to continue this episode on our Patreon page. So if you
On
haven't
the other
yet,
side.
go to the patreon.com/boogeyman radio
Yeah.
and join the After Dark. And at 9:15, we'll be back live on there. And we've got more. We'll be talking about Chester Bennington of Lincoln Park and the mystery surrounding his death, as well as Marilyn Monroe and Tupac.
Ooh.
So
Good times.
if you want to check that out, and if there's time, who knows, we might rip open that thing and play a couple cards, see what
That'd
it's
be
like.
awesome. Yeah.
But thank you all for joining us. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you again next week. If you're
Thanks,
not on,
everybody. Take care.
have a good night.